Welcome, Martin van den Berg. Thanks a lot for being here to join us and to collaborate and all the support as always.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Tell me, how's it going? How are you doing? How has been at home for so long?
Well, it's of course these are strange times, and especially when you have two kids. I have one son of 4 and one son of 10, and they're also at home now. And they're not only at home, but they also need education. So we have to be teachers, and that's quite a job. And next to that, I have to edit and mix a new CD of the jazz orchestra, the Concertgebouw. And so actually, I didn't play from the beginning of the crisis till a few days ago, when I had to do some overdubs for the Metropole Orchestra and also for the jazz orchestra. So actually I started 3 days ago again. So in a way that felt like maybe like a holiday for me. And so yeah.
How long you were without playing?
Yeah, it was okay. It felt like like a holiday. And yeah, what I noticed on Facebook, that in a way a lot of people felt like they had some stress and they wanted to do something, and they started making movies and about playing it themselves. And I didn't have that ambition at that moment to do that. And I thought, yes, that will come, and I have to adapt to the new situation with the kids at home, be a teacher to the kids, and the kids, they don't like it when they don't see their friends. So I think I just took it easy, and I thought, well, it's coming. And so this week I started.
The school through online school?
Yeah. So I think 2 days in a week they have a Zoom session with all the classmates.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was the period that you were without trombone, without music, apart that you had to be with your kids? And how did it feel for you? Was something new for sure?
Yeah. Now, well, I used to, let's say in the summer, a holiday vacation, I always take like a few weeks off. I don't play at all. I think that's important for me to get fresh again. So in a way, I just thought, okay, this is what it is. This is maybe a sort of summer holiday, just for my state of mind. And I don't want to get into the stress zone, because it's stress enough, because we're in the culture business, and culture is the first thing that was stopped.
Yeah, sure.
Playing, and it will be the last thing that will work again. And so I was actually quite busy after that when they stopped it, and it was just the day I should have gone with the jazz orchestra to Estland. I think just the evening before, they said it's not going to happen, because tomorrow they will announce in Estland that they will cancel all concerts. So it was strange in a way. And yeah, immediately they cancelled it also here in Holland. A lot of concerts with the Metropole.
When was your last concert, Martin?
I don't know. I have to look for it.
It was with the jazz concert about.
Yeah, I think the jazz orchestra. I think it was in the Concertgebouw. We did a Ella Fitzgerald program in the small hall, and which is a really nice hall, so for big band. And in a way, you felt it was coming. And I thought, okay, this last weekend tour in Estland, that probably will be the last thing happening. And so that was also cancelled. But I immediately realized that it was, it was not going to happen. Playing concerts in large crowd, with large audiences, and but even then, I had a big event. It's called Guus Meeuwis in the big stadium, which is a big happening for 2 weeks, and which is in a way the high point of the year. In the beginning you think, okay, that maybe it's going to happen, but then after a few weeks you realize, okay, it's not going to happen. And I don't want to be pessimistic, but for 2020, I don't think there will be any concert. We will play any concert. And actually, I think there should be a vaccine first before.
And then everything's going to start like normal. But we still need to wait a little bit.
But now, so they're talking about, like in the cinemas, taking out a lot of chairs so that you have this 1.5 meter distance. Maybe they can do that also in the concert halls. And
for example, if you want to be at the stage in the Doelen, cannot be the huge orchestra.
No, it will be ensembles.
You have to be max 21 musicians on a stage. So
it's new situation.
I think it's the same of football players with football. Music, I don't know, but it's going to happen the same thing at least. Also with schools and all the agglomeration of people.
Yeah. Well, they start here in Holland just with the how do you say, primary school, and if that's going well, they start with the high schools, and the universities don't even start before the summer. That's the situation now, but that also can change maybe in a month or whatever. So, but yeah, then I realized you have to be you have to be creative in a way to, what the Metropole just did is to overdub. We're doing it on the 5th of May. Normally we do a big concert outside in Amsterdam on the river, the Amstel, and there's the King and the Queen live television. It's a big happening, and now what they're now doing is that so we can have max 4 people in the studio. So we're doing the overdub session, and they record it, and they also do the video shooting. And then on the 5th of May, there will be in Carré, this the big hall in Amsterdam, there will be the soloist, a few people, and then there will be the big screen behind. They project the people of the Metropole.
So you were doing your own recording with the bass trombone?
Yes, I did it in the Metropole studio, and there was a technician from Metropole.
Okay.
So, in a way, that's a positive thing for the Metropole, because we have recording facilities, and so for us, maybe it's we can still be seen around, also with new things.
Yeah, sure. Apart from all the movies, all the videos that are online with the Metropole and with the Jachtconcertgebouwkes.
Yeah.
Tell me something, Martin. You told me that you had to stop playing for a while when all the crisis started. And after that, you said 4 days ago, that you started playing. You took the trombone, and what was the first thing that you did?
Well, yeah, my standard warm-ups, like let's say the variation on the band's basics, the glissing. Just take it easy, and just try to first get your sound with the air pressure. And I don't care so much about attack or whatever, the tongue. I just want to look with my diaphragm for the right sound. That's the first thing. And and after that, that's it. And for me, that's the first thing, the searching for my sound. And then what I really find important also, the jazz, the pop music, is that the slide technique is there. And that's more like your rhythm thing. So also without tongue, I really try to play some rhythmical things only with the slide. So that I'm really aware of, the different distances need different speed levels, so to say, which is in practically not possible to play twice the speeds when you have do twice the distance. But in a way, that's really important for me, to have to focus on the slide. So really, I like to throw with the slide, and let the slide do the work. I like to, give the slide a pulse so that the slide gets the energy and starts moving, the kinetic energy, and the amount of energy you give it to the slide, the faster it will go. So that feeling is really important. And about tonguing, that's.
But since then, you are doing the same basics, like using the same method. You try to change a little bit.
Yes, I try to. I have a nice book of Irving Green, which has some nice warm-ups. Joe Alessi has some really nice exercises which go, let's say from a low F, and then you still go up half note and go down and back, and then work your way up, but still go back to the low F, just in order to get your the sides of your lip steady, so you don't move them. And I find it very comfortable. So you have to really work with your diaphragm. That gives me a really fast warm up and comfortable feeling. Because, in my daily life, I don't have right now that much time to I don't have much time to warm up properly.
A lot of things with your family as well, so you have to be really efficient with your time.
Yes, absolutely.
What about
in a way?
Sorry.
Oh yeah, and I just want to say, in a way, when you play Metropole and jazz orchestra, you're playing almost the whole time. So if you do like a warm up and you start and you're still not feeling like in shape, I try to not to overdo immediately, but we're just playing the whole time, the whole day. So in that case, it's also a new situation for me, because that real hard studying is not of my daily ingredients, because I make a lot of kilometers. That's the saying in Dutch. I don't know what it's in English. I play a lot, and so I can experiment while playing in the orchestra and adjust things. So that's for me like
daily routine.
Also, yeah. So that's new for me, and that's going to be. I have to think about that. I have to do different programs now to keep in shape.
How are you dealing with your goals? What are your goals at the moment? Recordings coming up?
I'm working now. We did the recording just before the lockdown with the jazz orchestra, and I did it with two others. And I'm now doing the editing and the mixing, and that's for now the biggest goal, to make that really beautiful album, spectacular in every way. Because in 2 weeks the children will be back to school, a few days, so I get more time, so I can really dig into that more. So that's my biggest goal for now, to make this project happening.
So, because of the people that maybe, perhaps they don't know you, Martin is a really good bass trombone player. He's a really good teacher as well. I had the opportunity to work with him. And he's an amazing sound engineer. maybe you can tell us about it. How did you learn all this kind of stuff?
Just by try and error. Thinking about concepts, listening. I was like more into audio listening, and I had really expensive stuff and to audio equipment. And then I started, and we did a recording with Ben, and it was really nice, Nana. And then at the end, I'm a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, Louis Raatjes. He's like a crazy guy in audio, and he does a lot of modifications. So dus everything under the hood, he will change in audio signals, in power supply. So it will be a more clean sound, an open sound, so you get more depth, and so it will be more pleasant to listen to. So that's you can go crazy really like that. And so you can buy speakers of 100,000 euros. Well, that's not the sport. Besides that, I don't have 100,000 euros. And what he does is he does some little inventions himself that will cost not so much. So that's more like the sport. If you buy a CD player of 200 euros and you put in some components for 50 euros, that it will sound like a 2,000 euro CD player. Yeah, that's the sport. So and you can't go crazy with that. So I did. So I said to him, okay, now we're now always listening to recordings, but what about the equipment before the recording? So the microphones, the preamps, the converters. Why don't we dig into that? And so we started that. He did the technical things, and I tried to learn a lot about Pro Tools. That's the program where you record in, and get more into the technical details. So we started recording Ben, the few CDs, and the trombones of the Concertgebouw, the trio CD I did, and some other bands. But of course, it's more like an extra. It's more like an extended hobby for me, but a little bit too serious. So and so I also started to mix an old recording of the jazz orchestra, and they liked it. And then they came up with a new program that's called Crossroads, Jazz Orchestra of Concertgebouw. And that concept was a live concert with new pieces. And so the idea was that I edited it and mixed it, and I did the mastering with someone else. It's always, in the end, it's good to have other ears and other equipment, so you can check out better if it's really good. So, and that happened now again. Yeah.
Martin,
And
your first CD that you did as a recorder, you can call it, was the CD of Ben, Nana?
No, I didn't record that. I just did the editing, and it was Paul Power did recording.
Okay, but you did the edition for this CD.
Sorry?
You did the edition for this CD.
Yeah, the editing and it was really good. But yeah, in the end, we came up with the idea to have it more in our own. We could control it more ourselves.
Mm.
So it was like parallel that I started with this Louis Raatjes with the equipment and the ideas of upgrading good stuff, good equipment, getting to a high level, and it was parallel with the recordings of Ben when we started. So that was an adventure.
For sure. Martin, tell me something. What kind of equipment do you use normally for the trombone?
Well, it depends on the situation. Well, if maybe it's interesting to go just a little deeper into the zone of recording. Well, you can just say you have two situations. The situations is acoustic, ambient, and studio dry. Close miking is that. And when you go ambient, you have to put you see most of the times the little stereo microphones somewhere hanging. So when let's start with the dry situation. So what I'm doing here in the overdubs.
On your own, you can call it, right?
Yeah, I'm on my own. It has to be close and it has to be dry, and for sure when it's overdub. So it's important when you do overdubs at home. You look for the room with the least ambience, so the least reverb. Reverb is just the your sound when you project it or you play, it will bounce to every ceiling and the side. How to say every wall, and so you will get back different kinds of sounds in different times, and that altogether will make the reverb of the room. So concert halls have this really long reverb, and it will take a time when it bounces back from the back wall. But when you do overdubs especially when you have a reverb of more than 1 second, you get into trouble, because when you do overdubs, you hear this reverb on every take you overdub, and then it's getting fuzzy and it's getting we call it out of phase, and so it can turn out really nasty. So therefore, it's important. Bless you. And it's really important if you don't have a really dry room at home. Get yourself a curtain, the cheapest curtain, whatever, and put it on for that moment, and make it as dry as possible. So, but when you want to do, let's say, a concert piece, you want to play that for the people, and you have a nice room with reverb, then it's important to put the microphones in a good position, those two stereo little microphones, because it's a mix between, we call it wet and dry, in the reverb. So dry is the direct sound, so direct from the horn, and the wet sound is all the kinds of reverbs you get from the room. So if you put too much wet, too much room, you don't hear definition. But if you put it too close, you don't hear much reverb. So that will take a time to figure out what the best position is. So you have to make small recordings and then listen back and then adjust. So for that, that's really time consuming. So I think the best idea is to have like 2 small microphones, and you make it really wet. Try to have really ambient, and 1 big close mic. And so you have only direct sound. And afterwards, in the post-production, you can make a mix between those mics. So you can make your balance yourself between the direct and the ambient. And that is, that's really time saving procedure. But you need 3 microphones. So close miking, you use a big dynamic, or what I like is a ribbon mic. Because it can handle a lot of pressure when you're playing forte. That's big pressure. It can handle it, and the sound will not get nasty. It will stay full. So, but then you need 3 microphones.
3 different microphones. 1 for the trombone, 1 for the ambient.
Over. Yes.
Over. Okay.
All right, and then you normally it's nice to have a stereo set.
You don't use usually clip on the bell.
No. Well, only when it's really loud, when you're playing heavy metal concerts. So it's a lot of noise happening. So you have to put your mic almost in the bell.
Okay.
But the sound is not really great. It's really flat. There's no overtones. Only the nasty things you can hear of the trombone.
What are your suggestions as a microphone? You said that you need 3 microphones. For the trombone, for example, what is your favorite microphone to use?
Well, I use a SA Electronic, and I use those microphones condenser of they're the black ones. I can show you. These cheap, actually not very expensive. I think 150 euros. But then again, I put off this thing, and I changed. My friend changed everything inside. So
the same microphone.
It's the same microphone, so the same. This part, the upper part, is the same, but the internal wires and some some small parts are changed to high quality parts. So you get for and that will cost you like $20 or something, or $30. So that's quite an upgrade then, and you have a really nice microphone. And also for overheads you can use this Rode M5. It's not too expensive, but they'll do the job.
You have to put 2 different stands at the corners, more or less.
No, you can just use one stand, and then you can make an XI. So you will make like this. You can find that a lot of information on the internet. Or you can make an AB. That's certain distance, and you put them straight forward. AB they call it. And then what I sometimes use is the what they use in London in the Abbey Road. That's the Decca tree, because the Decca former company, the label, the recording label, they used to have this recording situation for the big orchestras. So 2 on the sides, let's say an AB, and then a middle in the front. And then you can also mix that to a nice, and you get a nice panorama view to listen to. But yeah, in a way, that's, I think nowadays everyone is in the same situation. You're at home, and everybody's trying to do their thing and make recordings. So I really would recommend everyone to at least buy one big condenser mic and an interface. It doesn't have to be that expensive, but then and you can. It's better to dig in, let's say, for 2 weeks and more into the technical recording stuff, and to work with equalization and compression. And you don't have to be a real pro, but you can do something about it, and you can really get quick results. Then, so take your time and dig in, because we're still, I think, for a year at home. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, we're gonna be here almost for 1 year at home, I think.
Yeah. So in those first weeks of lockdown, I saw some videos. And I could hear they were great players, and they took a lot of effort and all their emotion in it. But I found it really pity that they didn't take care so much about the recording itself. Because when you do like an iPhone, that an iPhone can't handle the pressure of a trombone, so it will clip, and it will there will be immediately a limiter onto it, and it will sound rubbish anyway. So there was in the second week, the Metropole did a suggestion for doing like a video clip at home, and it was a piece called Cold Dog, and it starts with a bass trombone, really loud, on the edge of what is possible, and it is like a rhythm thing, only with drums and then bass trombone rhythm. So I said, that's not possible on an iPhone. it's just not possible. So I did a video and I asked them to use audio because they have a lot of recordings of the piece. Otherwise, it doesn't have that effect, because I want to hear the spectrum of the trombone. And when you have a big microphone with a big diaphragm, you can catch the, let's say, the lower mid frequencies of the trombone really well. And that's where it all starts. That's where the emotion starts. And then you get your overtones and your high frequencies. So if you only hear high frequencies, you don't have body. You know, you don't get even half of the information what is really coming out of the bell. So that's, I would strongly suggest that if you have like, I think for 150 euros you can buy a complete set, and it's mostly called podcast set. They're used for podcast and speech, and that's already a big difference.
Martin, tell me something. What about people that they don't have maybe the income and the money to buy this kind of podcast? Maybe they can buy a small microphone for iPhone. For example, there is Shure.
Yeah.
And it's coming the same thing that you put your charger there. It's coming there, and it makes really nice things, I believe.
Yeah, that's also possible. And you have to Zoom. I think there's those hardware. They also have a X and I two microphones on that. That's also great.
You don't have stuff. You don't use it for an emergency thing.
No, not yet. Maybe I will need it because this is for me a new situation. So yeah, I have to think about it.
That is really, really nice that we took this topic, because I think nowadays everyone wants to become a YouTuber. Everyone wants to do a lot of stuff at home recordings.
Exactly.
It has to have a lot of good quality.
Yes, because and what also is happening that like ensembles are doing this. So what I told you, Metropole, and also what you see like amateur bands in Holland, and they record it with or without a click track at home, and then you put it together, and it's just like becoming a sort of mess. With all respect, because I don't want to embarrass them, and because I know from experience playing in the Metropole, doing a lot of recordings. That's a totally different thing than playing concert in a big hall, doing live concerts, playing. Or you have this really big. How do you say that? Between really loud and really soft. That's a big difference. Because it's possible to play so loud because you have a big headroom, because this big hall can handle that. But if you're at home and you do your recording in your dry room, you don't have this bandwidth of dynamics. So it's important to not to overdo that, to really limit your big volume and maybe just give a little more on the soft side. Because in the post-production, when you get a little more, you dig into the post-production and work with mixing and a little bit of dynamics, a little bit of compression, because you want to have it out of the little speakers nowadays. You want to have a full sound, which is therefore you use a little compression, equalization, but in a way it's subtle, so you don't hear it. It still stays open. So you have to try that. But my point is, I'm just going. So when you're all those bands together, and when you listen to that, I think that's a pity, because that will stay on the internet, and actually the input is really great, and it's maybe a lot of emotion to it, but you cannot hear the emotion enough, and that's a pity.
Martin, tell me something. When people send you a video, what kind of program do you use to set up everything together?
For the home recording?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you need to. You start with the microphone, and you need a stand for a microphone. I can show you what I use. Is like what I use. It's a singing booth. So that's a half a circle. You know, this is the ribbon microphone, and normally people sing in it, so there are no reflections on the other side. There will be no sound backwards. So this is really dry on the backside. Then you need a cable, and then you need a little audio interface. And that's also what I told you, like a little package you can buy nowadays for under $100. A really good working equipment.
And besides that, you have to have a MacBook Pro with the Pro Tools, with the Final Cut.
No. Nowadays you can just have a laptop, because the processors are so fast nowadays. They can handle audio easily. So it's only when you're heavy into the video and you want to have 40 pictures and 40 layers of video, then you need a real heavy computer. But only audio, I work with my Pro Tools and the recordings of 30 channels. I work with a Mac Mini from 2012, and it's no problem. So don't overdo with only audio and maybe one camera. You don't need a MacBook Pro or whatever. Yeah, and also for the software, you know, Pro Tools is like, maybe it's not really complicated, but it's more like a technical thing. It's only for post production, and it's not so much of producing. So you have from Apple, you have GarageBand, which is low entry, easy to use, where you can also work with your dynamics, your EQing and your mastering things, which is okay. And then you have this Logic, which is the Apple, the more the pro version of GarageBand, which is nice to handle, which has a lot of sounds. And personally, I don't like that program, but I know that Ben is working with that. And he likes that, and so yeah.
About Audacity, do you use it as well?
Sorry?
Audacity.
No. I'm only stick with the Pro Tools, because I know that, and that's good for me.
What kind of interface do you use?
I now have I use Motu, and I have multi interfaces of that. I can connect them together. So let's say for recording a situation, you have your microphones and you have your analog signal, and then it goes into the last time I put some analog preamps, and immediately after that it goes into the converter. So it's an AD converter, analog to digital, and then it goes with the actually a network cable. It's a network connection situation. It goes to the control room, and there it goes to the other Motu, and there for listening back and going to the computer. For listening back, you have the DA converter. So different equipment, different stuff connected with network cabling.
Everything you learn by yourself, by your own, just watching some tutorial on YouTube.
Yeah, I like to. Yeah, I watch some videos, and I've been in the metropole for 27 years now, and I was always curious how it worked, and I was there for listening back, and I saw those people working with technique, and I thought it's interesting, and and I'm also this kind of guy who doesn't like the sound they made of the trombone, so I thought, well, maybe I can do that better. Yeah.
Good way to learn. Yeah. Nice. Martin, tell me something. Living a little bit at the side, this topic that is really interesting nowadays, because everyone is at home, and they want to know what to do with the instrument, what to do with the brass instrument, because it's really difficult to do an amazing job as you do normally in all the recordings. But tell me, what is the thing that you are missing the most since all the quarantine and lockdown started? Apart the job, of course, that everyone, as a musician, we are missing our jobs. But besides that,
No, yeah, you know the interaction with people. You know, just face to face. And I just heard on the radio yesterday that it was everybody is getting so tired of having these Zoom conversations because in a way you're missing a lot of non-verbal details you can see when you're just face to face in real life. And yeah, that's what I'm missing most because you know, like yesterday morning there was a trumpet player here dubbing in his jazz orchestra thing, and then you're really happy to see each other. Just you know, hey, yeah, that's strange. I think the well, you know, when I have a holiday of 4 weeks, it's okay, and you see each other, and yeah, okay, and go back to work. But nowadays, it's you realize that it's special to meet each other in real life.
yeah. Actually, every country here in Europe has different law, different way of taking this quarantine time. For example, in Italy, you're gonna go outside, you're gonna have contact with anyone. At least in the Netherlands, we have
Yeah.
you can go there outside, have a nice walk, run. But if the police see you close by someone else 1 meter, they give you a fine. So
Yeah, that's we have the 1.5 meter situation here. But when you get closer, some groups of young people they get also a fine here. And even when it's also happening here. They're spitting to police officers, and then they say, "I have corona," and they will be locked for a few weeks in jail immediately.
that's a joke.
No,
Oh, wow.
it's a stupid thing to do.
Martin, what do you think is going to be the first thing that when everything is going to get normal again? Maybe next year, I don't know. What do you think now that is going to be the first thing that you will do? Perhaps having a beer in the cafe, having a nice frikandel. I don't know.
This I can always eat a frikandel, but um, well, for me, I think it's going to develop like this. I think we're going to get more in the overdub situation where you meet some people. So, like the Metropole, they planned the recording with Steve Vai. That's a famous American guitar player. And you know, we're now thinking about this doing in the overdub situation, and even when it's getting a little more loose, the lockdown, little less lockdown, that we can have, like, let's say we're sitting in the muziekgebouw van de Omroep in Hilversum, which has 2 big concert studios for classical orchestras. The Metropole is smaller and more dry. So that, let's say, the big band side of the Metropole is in the studio, small studio, and the strings are in the big studio. And everyone on 1.5 meter. So I think there's a possibility that we're going to work like that more. I know for sure. So in that way, I think for me that will not be sudden comeback, whatever.
Will take a while.
Yeah. But yeah, the biggest thing for me now is to how to handle to get to have the chops in shape. How do you normally you play every day, and yeah, that's new. I have to really think about that. I have to get my old study books.
Yeah, must be really tough for your mind, for also for your family. That they're not used maybe to hear you, like now they are listening at you almost every day. Yeah. Last week you started practicing again, so.
Yeah. Well, I consider myself really lucky to have this studio which is really dead silent, but also on the outside of the building, you cannot hear anything. So I can make noise day and night here, and that's a big. I feel lucky about that.
You have your studio at your place, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice, really nice. Changing a little bit topic, Martin, tell me about music. Do you think people will appreciate more music after this quarantine, after this lockdown quarantine, however you want to call it, will finish?
Yeah, I think so, because concerts and also like movies, it's not only about the music. It's also about getting out, getting to meet people, talk about topics, different kind of topics. Having a drink before the concert, having a meal before the concert, go to the concert, have a good time, have a drink after the concert, talk about the concert, and go home and have like a full package. So it's. So yeah, I think they will appreciate it really after. But for me, when you think about what will the situation be, when it takes a year, what will the government do about the subsidies? That's uncertain times.
Yeah, because I knew that before this quarantine started, we had already some funds that they were cutting the funds in the culture funds, at least in the Netherlands, right?
I don't know so much about that. I only know that there's a new round of subsidy period, and all the ensembles and the orchestras have to apply to that, and especially I think the jazz orchestra now. They wrote a whole new plan of what their plans are. And that should be honored then by a special committee, and then you get your next 4-year subsidy.
Okay.
So, and that's now in this. That's happening now in this period. So this is really strange because what's going to happen? How can you honor it just like nothing is happening in the real world, or what is? Yeah. So it's really guessing what their plans are to cover that. But again, I'm a lucky guy. I have a job in the metropole, so at least I get some money. But I see a lot of people around who freelancing, and also a lot of technicians who are especially depending on the big festivals. In Holland, we have a lot of festivals, and yeah.
And everything's cancelled until
everything. That's for sure for a year.
For a year, yeah.
I think for a year. Because first you have the vaccine, and then it takes I think a few months to get everybody gets the vaccine, and then you have to organize again. You have to organize concerts again. So yeah, I don't know.
Thanks a lot for your time, for your amazing masterclass of how to record yourself at home and do it well, because we have to be professional anyway if we are at home.
Yeah, but can I just say one thing about? I forgot something about, because when you close mic do recording, and I say, well, top down your high volume, then you say, well, the meter is not in the red, but it has to do with the post production. Then you cannot make it any louder anymore. So you have to think about how it will come out of the speaker, and think about maybe you can think about those big movies, Bill Reichenbach and the Phil Teals, who really so big into the cinemas halls, and I can assure you they didn't play that loud, but the way you think they played, they sound. So you can do a lot about in the post production with the dynamics. You can make the high volume even higher without disrupting the sound. So that's really important. That's what just about to say. Yeah.
Okay, Martin, to end this interview in the nice way, I have to tell you 5 things, and you have to respond each of these 5 things with just one word. Got it? It's a little bit
Sorry?
difficult. Got it? You understood, right?
Yeah.
A little bit difficult for some of my guests. First word is going to be Metropole Orchestra.
Yeah, it's way of living.
Just one word, but this.
Oh yeah, life.
Life. Second, Frikandel.
Dirty.
Trombone.
Enemy.
I thought your best friend. Okay. Enemy. Family.
Close.
Music.
So yeah, that's also life. That's the same thing as the Metropole. That's music. That's my life. I don't know what to do else actually.
Everything.
I cannot do.
Yeah, maybe I said sound engineer. Hobby. I don't know. You can call it.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Martin, for your time, for your collaboration. Very nice.
Thank you too.
Thanks a lot for this amazing masterclass about this amazing talking about how to do your own recordings at home, what to use, what to do, what to don't do. Don't use your iPhone ever. No, it's not good. Not professional.
No.
So thanks a lot for the people watching on Instagram, on Facebook Live, and later it's gonna be on YouTube with English subtitles in Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, Dutch, everything. Thanks. We see tomorrow with 2 guesses. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.